What's up, Michigan State fans? It's Jacob Kutznick here, back for another episode of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. And today we are going to talk about some basketball. It's the podcast again for Thursday, December 11th, 2025. And again, going to talk about Jeremy Fears more specifically today, because again, he's having a real heck of a season, about as good as it gets, really, about as good as anyone could have hoped for out of him to this point. You're looking at 11.6 points per game, 9.8 assists, though. That's the big one, to just about two turnovers per game. So, again, just he's playing out of this world. There's no other way to describe it. But we're going to kind of talk about why that has been the case. Because, again, it's so important for Michigan State's hopes this season. And I kind of wrote about this a couple of days ago, maybe a week or so ago. I think it might have been after, it was more than a week ago. I think it was after the North Carolina game. Kind of talked about why this has occurred, because, there's a reason for this. There's a reason why Jeremy Fears has gone from a good player on last year's team that was also very, very good, made the Elite Eight, to one of the best players in the country. If you ask me, just all around, offensively, defensively. I mean, there's not that many players out there who are better than him. He's leading the nation in assists per game by like a full assist per game. Last I looked, when I last checked, it was Jeremy Fears 9.8 assists per game. This puts in perspective. Second place was Braden Smith, Purdue, amazing player as well, 8.8 assists per game. That's the gap between first and second. Again, it's unusual in the college game to be averaging nearly 10 assists per game, just because play the shot make, like, you see 10 assists per game isn't that crazy. It's great always in the NBA per se. I don't know what the assist leader is, like Nikola Jokic, I think averages that most seasons, but he's kind of a unicorn as a center. But it happens there. It happens more often than in college, but it's probably a lot easier for NBA guys to do that because the shot making is so much better. In college, guys aren't as good as making shots, or as so, like, that's part of the other thing is Fierce has to, it's kind of like almost a team effort sometimes. His teammate has to make the shot. Um, there's been times Izzo has gone into post game press conferences and said Jeremy probably should have had 14, 15 assists per games if we could have made some more shots. Which, sometimes, yeah, sometimes I'd say, yeah, I kind of agree with him on that. But why did this happen? Why has there been this big leap for Jeremy Fears? And one big reason is really just because this was his first ever offseason in college where he's just gotten to work on his game. Again, he went through that traumatic experience as a true freshman again, or got shot in the leg while visiting his hometown, Joliet, Illinois, and he had to recover from that, physically, emotionally, and of course that sidelined him for the remainder of his true freshman season. The NCAA did grant him that extra season of eligibility. That's why he's a redshirt sophomore on Michigan State's roster. If he were to stay through his collegiate eligibility, he would have two more seasons after this one, even though this is really his third year here. But he had to like relearn how to walk after that. He got shot in the thigh. Came back last season, was the starting point guard from the word go, and like you're like, okay, this guy's good. The scoring was a real concern because he had that kind of weird shooting motion. It was kind of there was a hitch in it basically, and he didn't look very confident shooting when he did, because he didn't take that many jump shots. Especially the passing was good. He was averaging about 5 or 6 assists per game, which is closer to the top of the Big Ten. It wasn't at the top. You're like, okay, one of the better distributors in the conference. That's what you're kind of thinking of him. You're thinking like, but I don't think you could have imagined him taking the leap that he did, because he's gotten better in pretty much every aspect of the game. So like, right, he's a better scorer right now. He had that tough game against Duke, 0 for 10, but even with an 0 for 10 game so soon in the season, which can really plummet your shooting numbers, his field goal percentage from 2 and 3 are better than last year's, and he's shooting more shots per game than he was last year. So the shot volume's up, and so is the field goal percentage. That's the exact type of thing you're looking for development as a scorer. Uh, Apparently, the crazy thing I learned was that I also kind of wrote about this after the North Carolina game. I talked to him after an earlier game, might have been Detroit Mercy, where I asked him like, what'd you do over the offseason to work on your shot? Because the form doesn't really have that hitch anymore. It looks smooth. He looks more confident shooting it. He said, of course, he worked with Izzo a bit, I think he said. But the interesting one is that his agent is Mike Miller. Like that Mike Miller. The 17-year, he played in the NBA for 16, 17 years and was known as a three-point shooter. So, pretty good guy to learn from if you want to learn how to shoot the three ball. That's what Fears did, and unsurprisingly, the three-point shooting is much, much, much better. Again, he's shooting it more often. It looks better, and he's making it more often. That's the important part. The passing game, I think that's part of what opens up the passing game as well, because now defenders can't just go under screens every time, and that can open up. They have to go over. That can make it easier for him to, go to Cooper, Cole, or whoever is setting that screen on the roll, and it just opens up the passing lanes a bit more because now a defender going underneath a screen can't just like maybe sit on a passing lane and or dare Fears to shoot because if you go under the screen on Fears, he can just pull up and shoot it, and he's a legitimate threat from out there now. So that's kind of the other interesting part. But he's really on an interesting trajectory because he's I mean he's the face of the program right now. I think if you talked about Michigan State, if you talk to Michigan State fans, maybe outside maybe Cohen Carr is like the face of the program. If you're talking about someone who like someone who knows like very little about Michigan State basketball, like they're in California or something, just far away. They don't really watch Michigan State very much. They might think of Cohen Carr first because of just his dunks, his highlight reel. But if you're talking about people who watch Michigan State basketball, it's Jeremy Fears. He runs the show. Great defense. Again, we haven't even really talked about the defense. Defense is, he has a high motor. You're never going to question his effort, his desire to win. I think there was something Izzo said too. Is like one time he like took the clipboard from Tom Izzo or something. He's like, I want to win more than you, which is saying a lot, to say the least. But still, he's a guy who could. I think I kind of said this when the realization started to set in. Like I think it was like the Kentucky game. Where you're like, oh, like he's really made a leap forward in this one. I think like if he keeps on doing this, why can't his jersey be in the rafters of the Breslin Center one day? There's certainly some other people who haven't had it happen to them yet who probably deserve so, like Cassius Winston, Denzel Valentine. He's not up there yet. I'm like 95% sure. I know Winston's definitely not, but those guys definitely deserve it. And if Fears keeps playing at this level, like you're averaging 9, 10 assists per game, if he stays 2 more years, plays out his collegiate eligibility, you win. He's already led the team, helped lead the team to one Big Ten title. What if he gets them to a Final Four? What if they go further than that? Again, there's not really a ceiling on this team right now. They lost that game to Duke, but it felt like a game where like they left some opportunities on the table rather than Duke just like went and took it from them. It was like that was kind of the maybe the discouraging part is like you could have gotten they maybe should have beaten Duke, but they didn't. But down the line, they kind of proved in that game they can hang with pretty much anyone in the country. Those Michigan games are going to be real tough, but we'll deal with Michigan when we have to deal with the Michigan games in the future because Michigan is a buzzsaw right now. But nevertheless, Fears is on a real good trajectory. He's a team player. I mean, you talk to him after I talk to him after games, and it's never really about him. It's always about his teammates trying to win. Like he's a guy that gets it. He's a guy that Michigan State fans should definitely like embrace while he's here. Because again, I think if he's still here in 2 years' time, there'll be jokes at that. He'll only be a fifth-year senior, but he'll be getting like those. This guy felt like he's been in college for forever, just because he kind of always puts himself out there. Like he's always gonna kind of get clipped on social media and always be in the public eye a little bit because of the antics he does sometimes. There was the boozer chant where he kind of was like not discouraging the crowd to uh, do a profane chant. Uh, he does the thing once in a while where the opponent's at the free throw line. He'll like give some instructions by going in front of them and like throwing off the rhythm. Like he's a guy where if he didn't play for Michigan State, if he was on Michigan, not that if just purely hypothetically, if he was on Michigan, I don't think Michigan State fans would like him very much, given your team kind of like a Draymond Green, really. You as a point guard, you love to have him on your team, which Michigan State fans should, and you absolutely despise to play him. That's kind of the type of player he is, and I think that's the type of player you love to have him on your team. I'm sounding like a broken record here. But still, we'll see what happens the rest of the season with Fears. Again, he's playing so well, and you kind of saw those gaudy assist numbers early on in the season. Like, okay, maybe that'll slow down. It hasn't. There's no sign it's going to slow down because, especially because he's one of the only ball handlers on this team right now. That was one of the strengths of last year's team is you had Fears being able to kind of move the ball around, be a point guard. Jaden Akins could do it. Jace Richardson could do it. Even Trey Holloman could go do it. All those guys are gone now. It's basically uh, it's Jeremy Fears, basically. Divine Ugochukwu can do it, but not as well as those guys who had just left. And that's kind of it. No one else can really run the one unless you're counting Denon Wojcik, who only comes in at like the end of first halves and at the ends of games. So yeah, but still, we'll see what happens with Jeremy Fears. Again, appreciate these players and Tom Izzo while you got him because you just don't know how much time you have with them. Again, Izzo, I think he's got a lot left in the tank. The way how excited he is to coach these teams, but you never know these days. Sometimes guys get worn out at the end of a season. They realize it's kind of it. We'll see though. But Jeremy Fears, uh, best player on Michigan State, and the exciting part is he's got 2 years left after this one if he so chooses to use them. Till next time, though, thank you again for listening. Whether you are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or some other streaming platform, thank you again for taking your time out of your day to listen to me talk about Jeremy Fears, for instance, today. Talked about hockey a little bit yesterday. Until next time, though, get all of our written content as well at Michigan State Spartans on SI or SpartanNation.com. But again, thank you very much. I'll see you guys around.